like in a taxi or in a situation like that, and you're kind of quite tired, and somebody says, "Don't worry, I'll carry your bag for you." Yeah. I mean, not to blow one's own trumpet, but there was an old boy just said, I saw him getting his shopping out of the boot of his car, and so I went and took his shopping in for him, and and he so appreciated that. And I noticed how many bottles of wine he was carrying in. And I thought, well, if you hadn't bought so many bottles of wine, it might not have been such a hard job for you. But yeah. It was that feeling when I arrived in Nairobi, and it was cool, one of those really exhausting trips for all sorts of reasons, and for reasons I don't need to go into. Sort of hanging about and waiting, what have you. Finally managed to get somebody to drive me to where I needed to go, and by this time it was dark and it was midnight, and when I got there was nobody awake, and this sort of thing, and out came this guy who was what we would call the guard or the porter, and he just took my suitcase and he just hauled it up on his shoulder like this, and I thought, this is missionary life. Yeah. And he said, I'll take that for you. So I had a great, wonderful feeling, isn't it, when that happens. So, in Matthew 5:41, and we have that expression, if in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, as we call it, and he said, if somebody compels you to go 1 mile, go another mile. Go the extra mile. So we just talked briefly this morning about going the extra mile. And thanks. There we go. Oh, 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 wow. And as if, similar. Oh. Why is that not going? Hey? No, all right. Can you get in touch with Josh? Get yourself back here. Yes, it's all right. We appreciate what everybody's doing. Okay, there we are. So if someone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him. How many? 2. All right, bear that in mind. Okay, and so in those days, it was a rule in the Roman Empire that I think they inherited from others, but it doesn't matter. I think probably the Persians kind of came up with this idea originally, that a Roman legionary could go up to somebody and say, here, you carry my bag. Not please or would you mind, but carry my bag. And you didn't get the option. You didn't get to say, I'm busy. You got off your behind and you carried his stuff. Now, just quite interesting. I've always enjoyed stuff about some of these things, and and kids in school love lessons about Roman soldiers. So, how far is a mile? Well, a Roman mile is 1,000 paces, not pesos. Paces. Now, of course, it depends whether you're, but a normal pace. Well, what's the carrying weight on an aircraft these days? Come on, Raf, About 22. Oh well, 10 to carry on. You see, this is you're getting it all organised because you're off to. Oh, you've done it, of course, yeah. Oh, I don't know. Your comings and goings, you can't. Well, yeah. So, did you carry 10? Did you put? You didn't. Well, not when we've got a porter, a helper. You didn't. Anyway, how much did you put in the hold? 23, Vernon? 23, okay. It does depend on the airline, yeah. Let's just have a little long conversation about this, but yeah, okay. Well, so 22, 23. Anyway, bear in mind that if you put together all the stuff that a Roman legionary would carry, it comes to about 40 kilograms, about 40 kilos, okay? And, they would march many miles, they would march all day for this. Well, actually, the thing is, they could only move at the speed of an ox cart, because they've got everything has to move together. you can't spread out. It's not like one of our walks of witness where the walkers at the front have gone and the people at the back they'll keep it. So they go at the speed of an ox cart. So it'll probably only cover about 11 or 12 miles in the course of a day. But the way out, about 40 kilos. And when you get to the other end, of course, then you get your shovel out, and then you've got to dig your trenches, and then you get your poles out, and you start making a circuit, which is the kind of the ancient style of barbed wire surround or what have you. So it's a long, hard day. So you're carrying loads of stuff. Let's have a little look. There we are. You've got your loculus, your leather satchel. There's obviously a Latin word for all these things. Your water skin. You've got to have enough water to see you through the whole day. You've got to carry probably about enough food for 15 days. You've got to carry your own cook pot, a cup, a spoon, a shovel for digging, or a mattock. One of the, if you don't know what a mattock is, it's like a like a big adze type thing. And your steaks, and so not beef steaks. So you've got to carry all of that, and so he comes up and just labouring the point because labouring the point. So when he says he compels you to walk 1 mile, he's saying walk 1 mile carrying my stuff, my 40 kilos. So so you haul this thing onto you and you walk along with him, and then when it's finished, you say, well, I did my bit. Not doing that again today, thank you very much. You've got to walk back again. And Jesus says, but if you get compelled to walk 1 mile, what are you got to do? You've got to go the extra mile. You've got to go a little bit further. So, well, what can we say about that? Thanks. There we are. Along life's journey, you might not feel totally compelled always to do such things as that, but there are people who want to put their stuff onto you. Let's put it like that. There are people who are carrying their burdens and they just want to dump them on you. If you haven't had that feeling or that experience, well, be rest assured it happens. It happens. Or there may be people who really, they just want to demand your time. They want to take up your time. They think that they should be able to bend your ear or take up the time in your day, and that's what they do. Or they just want your, and some people, let's face it, they suck your energy. You're a long way, you've been there. Some people you're with, and at the end of the time you feel, oh, that was a nice time. And other people you go away and say, I need to lie down. I need 3 paracetamol and a cup of tea and and a bed. Yeah. And some people want your resources. Some people think they can interrupt you any time they like. I remember Paul Weaver, one of our former national leaders, and he and I were studying together at the same time. We graduated together. Paul, great guy, and he said, you won't believe how many times I get interrupted in the course of the day. I'm trying to write an essay here, and the number of times I get interrupted. And Paul, you should have had a better system, really. You should have got yourself a Ruth Latibodia. That's why we pay her the big money, There we are, yeah. But, on the converse, perhaps, we like our schedules, we like our plans, we like our itinerary, we like our privacy. We like to feel that we're in control of our own lives. And Jesus says, do you know what? In all of this, a straightforward negative response is not permissible. Wow. Just like that. No, yeah. But he's looking for the response of willing, joyful service. You know what stress is, don't you? Anybody know what stress is? Yeah. You've never experienced this. You know anything about it. Stress is when you're not in control. That's all stress is. If you're in control, you're not stressed. But if you're or not the unhealthy stress, or as our dear naval engineer used to say to me, where there's no stress, the bridge collapses. So we need a certain amount of stress, but it's that sense of control. That's when we really suffer sense of stress. And we need to know this morning not that other people are in control of our lives, nor even that we are in control of our lives, but that Jesus is in control. And if you don't get anything this morning, remember that God is in control, and he will work all things together for good for those who love God and are called according to not other people's purpose, but his purposes. Yeah? So he is in control. I love that song that we sing. I can't remember how it goes. You are in control. You are in control. Perhaps we sung that one. You brought everything together in a perfect plan, and yeah, it was a wonderful one. Yeah. So don't feel this morning pushed around by circumstances. Don't be pushed around by people. Don't be pushed around by the devil. Don't be pushed around at all. Be led of the Spirit. Now, that needs a little bit of unpacking and thinking about and how that all works for us anyway. For the nation of Israel in Jesus' time, of course, the whole nation wasn't under their own control. They were under the control of, they had sort of puppet kings and leaders, but they were under the Roman Empire. So they had the great beast, and they had the little beast. And so in all of that, they wouldn't feel they were in control. And Jesus says, look, what I'm saying to you here is I want you to take back your own initiative. You might feel that people can force you to do this, that, and the other, but there is a way of taking the initiative. And I want you to live in the kingdom of heaven and to live in divine principles and to know that you live under heaven's rule. Okay, let's go on a little bit further. Thank you. There we are. Let's do the, where are we? On the carrying pole, right. I don't know where I am. Thank you. Okay. So the first one is, we are compelled. The second one is about being complete. Jesus said, be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Now, in the middle of nothing, if you just pick that out, you say, well, what kind of a text is that? If you just heard the preacher at the front say, okay, folks, here's the plan for the week. Go away and be perfect. All right, I've done my job, now you go do it. That would be a bit unhelpful, yeah? Thank you, I'm glad you're listening. So we need to think, well, what's that? What's happening there? First of all, of course, to say, your Father in heaven, he is perfect. Isn't that wonderful? So that's a good thing to know. That God is, there's no fault with him. I find no fault in him, the man said about Jesus. No fault in him. He is perfect. He is complete. And so our aim is to be like him. Eugene, athletic man that you are, can't run quite as fast as you used to, but still got something going on there. Yeah. How are you on the old springy stuff like high jump and things? Knees, the knees. Yeah. Triple jump, that's his thing, but still the knees, and of course, can't think of the word. The pole vault, that's a brilliant thing, isn't it? Do you think how quickly we could get up into the balcony from here? Do you know? Yeah, don't do it. You know where that came from? It came from those islands where the shepherds, go back to the shepherds again, had their long pole, and to get across this ravine to the next side, they would simply go and land on the other side. So develop the pole vault. There you go. And but you think about that target, it goes higher and higher and higher, doesn't it? And until somebody can't make it anymore. And I see from the, is this true? I think from the Olympics, they're going to have to make the pole, the stand higher, because they got to the top of the bar. Yeah. Jolly Swedes. Yeah. I know. Staggering. Well, that's me staggering, but yeah. What? You get what? there's a financial benefit from the higher you bounce, the more money you get. or in the Maasai, the higher you jump, the better the wife you get. So I'm told. Anyway, just that whole thing about the bar being raised, getting higher. We talk about raising the bar, yeah. And Jesus sets the bar that high that he says, what you need to be aiming for is being like your Father. And it's great to have people that we look up to and people that we would like to be like. But the ultimate is to be like your Father. We're not going to get there this side of heaven, but keep aiming for it. You know, we say with exams, if you want to just scrape a pass, don't aim for 50%, because you might just, but aim for 100%, aim for 90%, and you'll at least get something out of it. So why is that little word there? Why is the picture? Well, because that's the word teleos, which is the one that's translated be perfect, and could be translated, if you like, complete. And I like complete, particularly because it's alliterated with compelled. And so, yeah, I was looking for a picture of anybody into astronomy? Anybody got a telescope? Look. Are you? Good. Excellent. Well done. Yeah. Are you, Kurt? You're a bit of an astronomer? Huh? A small, is it one of those that goes like this, in and out? No, you see, I was trying to find a picture of one that goes in and out, because the whole idea of teleos, being complete, is that you're able to get to the furthest point, but you do it in stages as you open it out like that. And the Bible tells us that we are being transformed from one degree of glory to another, and that our goal is to end up complete and perfect, which we will get to one day. In the end, we just keep aiming there, keep trying to get there. So, and that reminded me of the word that Jesus said. And we always used to say that it's tetelestai. These say people want to pronounce it tetelestai, which is the word when Jesus said, "It is finished." So can you see the tell bit? The tell bit is the root of the word that says, "It is finished. It's complete. The work is done. I've done it all." Isn't that wonderful? So it's complete. And we are complete, the Bible tells us, in him. So in order to be like him, we look at what God is like and we say, I want to behave like God behaves. I want to be like Jesus. That's what we need to aim to do in our lives. Okay, let's go to the next little one, which is, there we are. If someone wants this, don't just give them this, but give them a little bit more. So, if somebody wants your coat, give them also your tunic. What was yours? Your jacket. Oh, right, okay. My version said shirt. So, a bit cold once that's happened, but it's just an idea and a principle. If somebody wants your cheek, give them the other one. Okay. And if somebody wants a mile, give them. Give them another one. Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, what does this look like? You see, in our lives, going back to the Old Testament, and it really sounds harsh, because Jesus, in some of the things that Jesus said, he says, you have heard it said, and he's talking about the Pharisees, what they've said. But you have heard it said, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a life for a life. That's the Old Testament law. That's Deuteronomy, it really sounds a bit, yikes, I don't like that kind of law. But in the context of like the Bronze Age world, and what things are like just the same today, somebody gives you a little tap, you give them a bigger one back. Yeah? Somebody kills a member of the family, you blow up the whole family. The human nature is in us. We don't just want justice, we want revenge, we want vengeance. We want to really give them what? Or we'll give them, what is it, a preemptive strike? If they think they're going to do a little one, we get them first and give them an almighty great wallop. And so the Old Testament justices say, no, don't exceed what is just and what is equitable, an equal and opposite response. You know, just if they've only knocked a tooth out, well, don't knock their head off. Yeah, and so that's the Old Testament law. But then Jesus comes along and says, hey, folks, we don't want to just be at that level here. We want to raise the bar. We need to start being more godlike. We want to go further than the law's demands. We want to be helpful and loving and kind. Now, I've had a little bit of a problem with this. If somebody wants this from you, well, how far do you go with that? How far do you go when, and if somebody demands that you give them, well, just give them and don't just got to keep giving all the time. I got a bit of a problem with it. So I had a little chat with my friend Ellicott many years ago, and the Wallington Missionary Mart. My father picked up a copy of Ellicott's commentary, and in several big volumes. And this is what, it's all right, you can take that one off now so that we can concentrate on this, thanks. And this is a little bit of what he said. Were we to give to all men what they ask, we should in many cases be cursing, not blessing them with our gifts. Not so does our Father give us what we ask in prayer. I thought that's a good example. I want to be like God. Now, does it mean, if I look at being like God, when I say to God, this is what I'd like, does he always give us exactly everything we want? Thank you. I'm glad you're still with me. You know, if there's somebody here who says, yes, everything I've always asked for, I've always got exactly. Because God knows what's better for us. He doesn't always give us what we ask for, so we want to be godlike. And another little quote from him, a little bit further on, he says, we are to consider it as a call to thoughtful inquiry how best to meet the want. Nice, isn't it? Giving what is asked for, if we honestly believe that is really for the good of him who asks, giving something else if that would seem to be really better for them. Goes on a little bit, it says, rightly understood, the words do not bid us idly give alms to the idle or the imposter. Thank God we've got brains. Some have got better ones than others. But we know, and understanding, and we've got compassion, but with wisdom, yeah? May the Lord give us gifts of wisdom, gifts of understanding and care. And so he says, St. Paul's rule, if a man will not work, neither let him eat, is not a departure from the law of Christ, but its truest application and fulfillment. Do you know, I was thinking as I was walking around the kitchen this morning, I thought to myself, this is not in the Bible, but I almost wish it was. Give a man a fish. Yeah. You got the picture, haven't you? Yeah. Give him a fishing rod. Something like that, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Give him the skill. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so somebody says, oh, give me a fish. Well, maybe giving them a fish is not the best thing for them. But it doesn't, so we don't go for the negative, push off, I'm busy, or leave me alone, or as somebody said the other day, he said, I read this, a pastor said, somebody'd been such a nuisance and I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and somebody came to me and I didn't give him what he asked for, and he hurled all sorts of abuse at me, and I turned around and said, how dare you speak to me like that? And I went home and I felt absolutely dreadful. We've all been there. Well, not exactly there, but you know, we've all been in those where we've not perhaps responded in the right way. But may the Lord give us that understanding, that help, so that we don't respond with the instant negative, but neither do we respond with the thoughtless positive, but the the careful, wise response from the Lord. In all of this, it's not about the rules. And it struck me, Jesus didn't say if somebody makes you go 1 mile, just go with them for the rest of the journey, or go with them as long as they ask you for. He says, go with them 1 mile. Go them 1 mile more. So, there is a sense of control and help. And, well, I'll just leave it with this really. We want to be like Jesus, yeah? We want to be like God. What does it say? Lamentations chapter 3, it says, the Lord's loving kindnesses never cease. For his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. He's like that with us. If we can be like that with others. 1 Timothy 6:17, God who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. Jesus is given 5 loaves, 2 fish. It comes a point. He's the great provider with 12 leftovers. A paralyzed man comes to Jesus. He is unable to walk, but as well, the extra mile, he gets his sins forgiven as well. So, may the Lord help us with wisdom and help, and the grace of the Lord and the leading of the Holy Spirit to go the extra mile in his way and guidance. Let's just pray.